What are my favorite e-bikes in the 4 categories right now in 2022? We've got super light trail, we've got super light enduro, we've got full powered trail and full powered enduro. The market is changing so fast, but right now, today, these are my favorite e-bikes. Riders, welcome back to Sam's Bikes, where you know we only talk e-bikes. We're back in the studio today because it has been raining pretty much non-stop for the last 2 or 3 weeks, which is horrible for a YouTuber. So I thought I'd take the advantage and talk about my favorite e-bikes at the moment in all 4 categories. And Rider Legends, we just hit 25,000 subscribers. I'm super blown away, and I thank each and every one of you Rider Legends out there. But if you haven't subscribed to Sam's Bikes, it's super easy and it's free. Just smash that subscribe button. It really does help out. More subscribers means more bikes are sent to me to test, more content for us to talk about at Sam's Bikes. And let's thank the sponsors that help make Sam's Bikes possible. Schwalbe, making the best mountain bike tires in the business, in my opinion. Insta360, the smallest action camera on the market. And now the new One RS, which is a 4K action camera, which also doubles, like converts into a 360 camera. Link in the show notes where you can get your best deals on Insta360 product. And the new sponsor at Sam's Bikes is Quad Lock. Quad Lock is a smartphone solution for your smartphone, which has cradles and adapters for your bike, your motorbike, your car, your golf buggy, pretty much everything. And Quad Lock, the legends, are offering 10% off all products. Link in the show notes where to get that deal. So in this video, we're going to look at the 4 categories: super light trail and enduro, and full powered trail and enduro. Clearly in 2022, we have 4 clear categories in the e-bike market. And for me, it's absolutely impossible just to pick one in each category. So I'm gonna pick 3 in each category. I know that's a lot, but we're gonna end up with my favorite picks for 2022. And also, we're not gonna go into loads of detail. If you want more detail, I suggest you head over to samsbikes.net, the best bike finder on the market, and you can check out all the details of these bikes. You can compare the bikes, you can do a bike finder, you can actually do a pro bike finder, you can put in the motor you want, the battery you want, the chainstay length, the head tube angle, and everything in between. It is the best thing on the market, and check it out and let me know what you think, riders. Okay, let's start off in the super light market. And for me, a super light is sub 20 kilos. They normally have a smaller battery from 250 to 450 or even 540. And they're normally for a fitter rider, someone that wants to pedal a bit more, wants a bit more help in those mountains, but also doesn't want to lose the natural feeling of a mountain bike. Because a full powered e-bike generally are like 21 to like 27 or 28 kilos. And they are amazing, but you don't lose a feeling of mountain biking. It's just a different feeling. And it's something that you really have to get used to. Starting off with the super light trail bikes, and the Levo SL has to get in there. I was lucky enough to do a long-term test, like 9 months test on the Levo SL, and I absolutely love the Levo SL. In my opinion, this is possibly the first e-bike for a purist on the market. It's got 150 millimeters of travel front and rear, rolling on 29 wheels, 35 Newton meters, and 320 watt internal battery with a 160 watt external available battery. I really love the feel of the Levo SL with the short chainstay 437, rolling on 29 wheels. I was riding a large, which has a reach of 455, which seems a bit short, but it was such a playful bike. I really loved my time on the Levo SL. Number 2, the Orbea Rise Hydro, sub 20 kilos, 540 watt battery, and 60 Newton meters of power coming from the Shimano EPA RS. That is impressive. I was lucky enough to have a very quick ride on the Orbea Rise Hydro a couple of months ago. Shout out to Iñaki for letting me have a ride of it. And I was super impressed with that sub 20 kilos. You definitely feel like you're almost riding a full powered e-bike. Rolling on 29 wheels, 150 at the front, 140 at the back suspension. This bike is really good. I just wish they made it like 170, 150 or 160, 150. Number 3, Rottweil Rx375. This is the only trail e-bike that's coming with a full powered 85 Nm EP8 motor. And it's 17 to 18 kilos, couldn't find the exact weight on the internet. I really like what Rottweiler have done here with the 375 quick release battery. Super easy to change. Unfortunately, that battery is gonna set you back, I think 800 or 900 euros. And it would be very interesting to see how much range you're gonna get out of a 375 battery. I dare say you're gonna need 2 or maybe even 3. But if you de-restrict it, so kind of do what Orbea Rise has done, maybe run the EP8 at 50 Nm, you're probably going to get a fair amount of range out of this bike. Definitely a good option. And now onto the super light enduro bikes. Number 1, Oil Ciron, 17 to 18 kilos, 170 front and rear suspension, 60 Nm powered by the Eon Drive motor, and a 360 watt internal battery. I was lucky enough to ride the Ciron last year in Enduro for only 2 hours. I was really impressed on how the bike rode, and the motor seemed to work really well. It's a collaboration with Bafang. I would love to do more testing. I mean, the 360 watt internal battery, I didn't get to test the range. I don't think a range extender is available at the moment, but I need to check that. And also, when it got really steep and nasty, the bike has a single pivot. Well, in my opinion, it's a single pivot. They have a little bit of linkage system, but it definitely feels like a single pivot when you're riding it. So when it got really steep and nasty and fast, I felt like the suspension kind of packed up on me. But saying that, I didn't get to fully set up the suspension, and I would love to have more time on this bike. Number 2, the Kinivo SL. I've been lucky enough also to do the long-term testing of this bike. My long-term review, link in the show notes, check that out if you're interested. And for me, the Kinivo SL is an absolute magic carpet. You got the 6-bar FSR lower link suspension, quite possibly the best suspension system I've tried. And the bike is so fast, so confident, and it actually rides for a 170 front and rear. It actually rides pretty good trail riding, like because you've got 6-way geo changes, so you can change it from 62.5 for like hardcore and downhill enduro riding up to 64.5. And you also can change it from the low to the high setting at the back. So the Kinivo SL is rolling on 29 wheels, as I said, 170 front and back, using the SL 1.1 motor with 35 Nm of power, a 320 watt internal battery, and a 160 watt external range extender available. And all that beast of a mountain bike is coming in just over 18 kilos. Definitely the Kinivo SL is a hard-hitting enduro downhill super light e-bike, and perfect for someone that doesn't want to lose the natural feel of a normal enduro or downhill bike. Number 3, Rottweil Rx375. The Rottweil is coming in around 18 kilos. We've got 170 at the front, 160 at the rear. And again, it's using the full powered Shimano EP8 with the quick release 375 watt battery. I really like the look of Rottweil bikes. As I said, not keen on the price of that spare battery. I'd like to see that drop to around 400 or 500, that would be acceptable, but definitely a great option. And now we go into the full powered e-bikes, which generally are around 20 to 27, 28 kilos, using motors around 80 to 90 Nm of power. And the average battery size at the moment, or the trend, is around 700 to 750, which seems standard in the industry right now. Number 1, Levo Gen 3, and it's no secret that I absolutely love this bike. My long-term review, 2000 Ks, link in the show notes, check it out if you want. But the cliff notes are, this bike has 160, 150 suspension, rolling on a mullet setup, so 29 at the front, 27 at the back. You've got the Bros Mag S with 90 Nm, and you've got the 6-way geometry changes, which makes it hugely versatile. You can take it out doing trail riding in 65.5, or then you can put it in 63.5 and go to the downhill enduro tracks. Absolutely amazing bike. Number 2, Santa Cruz Heckler. And Santa Cruz, again, finally, welcome to the party. In my opinion, the first version of the Heckler was a bit rubbish, and it definitely wasn't up to the Santa Cruz badge. The Bullet, amazing bike, but only having a 630 watt battery for me, for my type of riding, I'm not getting enough range. So enter the new Heckler. We've got two versions, got a 29er and a mullet, and it's coming with a whopping 720 watt battery, which I'm loving to see. 160 suspension front, 150 at the back, perfect geo. I'm really digging the Santa Cruz Heckler. I reckon they're gonna sell a truckload of them, and I would really love to try the Heckler because I really wanna try the VPP suspension on that beast. Number 3, Giant Trance E+. I'm about halfway through my testing on the Trance. If I'm 100% honest, I didn't think it'd be a bike that I like, but I'm so wrong. Like at my local trail center, this thing is an absolute blast. You got the automatic suspension, you got 150 at the front, 140 at the back. The thing is just a little dart. So direct, so fun, and you really get like the dynamics of riding more. Like you don't feel like on a big enduro bike, you kind of lose the feel a little bit. This is like, you really feel like, sometimes it feels like you're riding like a hardtail because of the automatic suspension. The new sync drive motor, which is powered by the Yamaha PWX3, it's smaller, it's got more power, it's definitely good on range, definitely can recommend that motor. Overall, I think it's a great option if someone's looking to do trail riding, backcountry, because you can get that extra battery, the 625, which takes you up to 875, so massive range available there. Okay, now it takes me on to the last 3 enduro full-powered e-bikes. Before we start with the 3, I want to give 2 honorable mentions: the Santa Cruz Bullet and the Yeti 160E. In my opinion, these are fantastic bikes with probably some of the best kinematic suspension on the market, but it's rocking a 630 watt battery with the Shimano EPA, and for my style of riding, I wouldn't be buying these bikes just because I don't think I'm getting enough power out of them, enough range out of them to make it worth purchasing those really expensive e-bikes. Number 1, the new kids on the block, Score 4060 ZLT. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I've got a sweet spot for this. Just the geo for me, I think is perfect for my style of riding. We've got 170 at the front, 160 at the back, rolling on 29s. We've got an EP8 motor with a 720 watt battery, which is enough range for me. And wait for it, we've got the lower link suspension, and we've got a 435 chainstay with a lower link suspension on a 29er with 160 at the back. Not sure how the engineers have done that, but I think it would be a perfect bike for my style of riding, and I would definitely love to test it. Score, fingers crossed, send me one out. Number 2, Giant Rain E+. The new Rain has to be one of the best value e-bikes on the market in 2022. Let's check the specs out. You're getting full Fox factory suspension, you're getting carbon fiber wheels, you're getting a 750 watt battery, you're getting the new sync drive motor with 85 Newton meters, and how much are you asking? €7,500. That is a steal, and don't forget riders, that is pretty much competing with the online brands, and you're getting the local support, which I think is pretty important when you're buying an e-bike. And after being on the Trance, I really, really want to try the Rain. So Giant, if you're watching this, please send it out. Fingers crossed as well. I want to test this bike. And lucky last, number 3, Kels Theos, I think is how you say it. And I thought this bike was a bit of a myth. We heard about it a year ago, and then we didn't hear anything. And Rob just dropped a bang review of it. Check it out, riders, if you haven't seen it. But I love the look of this bike, and I really like where it's going, using thermoplastic. The geo looks great. You got a 720 watt battery using the EP8. Love the low standover height. Just love the overall look of this bike. And again, I would love to test this bike. And the pricing's really good as well. I think it's like 8-9 grand, killer spec. So I'd love to test that bike. Actually love to test all the bikes. But riders, it's actually really hard to get these bikes. You know, like a lot of the bike companies don't even reply to me, which is really hard to deal with, because I would love to bring more content, review more bikes. And riders, you know how that's going to be possible? Hit that subscribe button. Sorry to keep on pushing it, but it has to be done. Put a comment, that helps out the algorithms as well. Like this video, that does help out. And more importantly, riders, what are you thinking of? What do you think the best super light trail, enduro, full powered trail and enduro bikes are for this year? Love to know in the comments, and you know it. Stay safe out there, and we're going to see you next week.